Let's be honest for a second. When you see a headline that flashes Joe Rogan and heartbreaking news in the same sentence, your stomach just plummets, doesn't it? It's an instant, visceral reaction. You brace yourself. You think the worst. Is he okay? Is it his family? Did something happen to one of his friends? In the loud, chaotic world of online media, Joe Rogan is a figure so massive that any news about him, good or bad, lands like a shockwave. So, when the shocking update started to ripple out, everyone held their breath. But this time, the heartbreaking news wasn't what anyone expected. It wasn't a personal tragedy. It wasn't about a death, an illness, or a loss in his immediate circle. The news that came out of the Joe Rogan Experience studio is, in many ways, infinitely more terrifying. Because it's not a personal heartbreak for one man. It's a heartbreaking warning for all of us. The warning that silenced the room. Just a couple of days ago, Rogan sat down with a guest who is, without a doubt, one of the most powerful and controversial figures on the planet, Elon Musk. We've seen this movie before. The two of them, often in a haze of whiskey and smoke, diving into the future, memes, and the nature of reality. But this conversation, reported on November 8, 2025, had a different, darker edge. The heartbreaking part wasn't an event that happened. It was a future that Musk, the CEO of XAI and Tesla, laid out in chilling detail. Musk, who is racing to build the very future he seems to fear, issued one of his most direct warnings yet. He predicted a future where artificial intelligence makes almost all physical and digital work completely optional. On the surface, that sounds like a vacation, but the transition? That's where the heartbreak comes in. Musk warned that this shift will be marked by a lot of trauma and disruption. Let that sink in. Trauma and disruption. He didn't just mean people would have to find new jobs. He described AI as a supersonic tsunami, and he was blunt about who it's coming for first. Anything that is digital, Musk stated, which is just someone at a computer doing something, AI is going to take over those jobs like lightning. It's happening. It's not a sci-fi plot. It's a weather report. The tsunami is on its way. Why this feels so personal. This is why the word heartbreaking is so fitting, even if it's not the way we first thought. This isn't a distant Terminator-esque scenario that we can laugh off. This is a deeply personal, emotional, and human crisis. Think about it. What is heartbreak? It's the feeling of profound loss. It's the grief that comes when something you've built your life around is suddenly gone. For millions of people, writers, artists, coders, customer service agents, analysts, even lawyers, their entire identity is tied to what they do. Their skill, their craft, the thing they spent decades mastering. Musk just looked into the camera from Rogan's studio and essentially said, "It's over." The trauma he's talking about is a crisis of purpose. Musk tried to soften it, of course. He talked about a benign scenario where we avoid the robot apocalypse and instead get universal high income. Not just basic income, but a world where everyone can have any products or services they want. But that's the cold, logical, billionaire engineer brain talking. He's talking about a what. He's completely ignoring the who. We are not just machines that consume products and services. We are human beings who need to feel useful. We need to create, to struggle, to solve, and to be valued for it. What Musk is describing, and what Rogan's platform just broadcast to tens of millions of people, is the potential heartbreak of becoming obsolete. It's the terror of a future where you are no longer needed. Not the first time for tears. To be fair, the JRE studio is no stranger to real, raw emotion. This isn't the first time heartbreak has been associated with the show. It's hard to forget the episode from February of this year, 2025, when Rogan himself was visibly fighting back tears. He wasn't talking about AI. He was remembering something painfully real, the 2018 Los Angeles wildfires. He recalled, with his voice cracking, the horror of being evacuated, the fear, and the absolute devastation of watching his neighbors, people he knew and cared about, cry in front of the rubble of where they lived. They lose everything, he said, wiping his eyes. That is a tangible, understandable heartbreak. It's loss you can see, touch, and smell. And then there's the tragedy that has haunted Rogan for decades, the one he still speaks of with a mix of rage and sorrow, the 1998 murder of his close friend, comedian Phil Hartman. That was a violent, personal, and world-shattering loss. But this new heartbreak is different. It's colder. It's a slow motion, global grief for a future we didn't ask for. The real shocking update. So, was the headline clickbait? Was it wrong to call it heartbreaking? Absolutely not. It just wasn't the headline we thought it was. Joe Rogan's show has become the world's town square. It's the place where the ideas that will define our future, the brilliant, the terrifying, and the just plain weird, are hammered out in real time. The shocking update isn't that a celebrity had a personal tragedy. The shocking update is that the trauma and disruption is no longer a what if, it's a when. The most powerful podcaster in the world just gave the richest man in the world the biggest microphone in the world to tell all of us that our world is about to break. That is heartbreaking, and we all heard it loud and clear.